July 8th, on this day, in 1099, approximately 15,000 starving Christian soldiers marched in a religious procession around the walls of Jerusalem during the First Crusade, while the city's Muslim defenders watched from within. This event was a key moment leading up to the capture of Jerusalem. In 1290, Princess Margaret, the 15-year-old daughter of Edward I of England, married 14-year-old Duke John II of Brabant at Westminster Abbey in London. This union was an important alliance between English and continental nobility. In 1497, Portuguese navigator Vasco da Gama departed from Lisbon on his first voyage to India. His journey made him the first European to reach India by sea, opening a new direct maritime route that would transform global trade. In 1551, William I, Prince of Orange, married Dutch noblewoman and heiress Countess Anna van Egmont. Their union lasted until her death in 1558 and helped strengthen William's influence within the Dutch nobility. In 1608, French explorer Samuel de Champlain established the first permanent French settlement at Quebec, laying the foundation for the development of New France in North America. In 1663, the British Crown granted Rhode Island a charter guaranteeing freedom of worship, affirming the colony's reputation as a haven for religious liberty in early America. In 1686, Austrian forces captured Budapest from the Ottoman Turks and annexed Hungary, marking a major shift in control in Central Europe. In 1709, Peter the Great of Russia defeated Charles XII of Sweden at the Battle of Poltava in Ukraine, effectively ending the Swedish Empire's dominance in Northern Europe. In 1755, Britain broke off diplomatic relations with France as their disputes escalated in the New World, foreshadowing the outbreak of the 7 Years' War. In 1758, the British attack on Fort Carillon at Ticonderoga, New York, was repelled by the French defenders, marking a significant French victory during the French and Indian War. In 1777, Vermont introduced and adopted a constitution that abolished slavery, making it the first region in what would become the United States to outlaw slavery and guarantee universal male suffrage. In 1794, French troops successfully captured Brussels, Belgium during the French Revolutionary Wars, expanding French influence in Europe. In 1800, Dr. Benjamin Waterhouse administered the first cowpox vaccination in the United States to his own son in an effort to prevent smallpox, helping introduce vaccine science to the country. In 1815, following the defeat of Napoleon Bonaparte, King Louis XVIII returned to Paris, reinstating the Bourbon monarchy after the turbulent period of the 100 Days. In 1822, 29-year-old English poet Percy Bysshe Shelley drowned while sailing off the coast of Italy, marking a tragic loss for the world of romantic literature. In 1833, the Treaty of Hungar-Iskelesi was signed between the Ottoman Empire and Russia near Istanbul, creating a defensive alliance that impacted the balance of power in the region. In 1853, Commodore Matthew Perry sailed his frigate, the Susquehanna, into Tokyo Bay, compelling Japan to open its ports to Western trade and influence after centuries of isolation. In 1859, the truce at Villafranca resulted in Austria ceding control of Lombardy to France, significantly altering the political landscape of Italy during the process of unification. In 1863, following the surrender of Vicksburg, demoralized Confederate forces at Port Hudson, Louisiana, surrendered to Union troops, further weakening the Confederacy's position in the Civil War. In 1864, Confederate General Joseph E. Johnston retreated into Atlanta to avoid being flanked by Union General William Tecumseh Sherman, setting the stage for the pivotal Atlanta campaign. In 1865, 4 conspirators involved in the assassination of President Abraham Lincoln were hanged in Washington, D.C., marking the conclusion of the investigation into the president's death. In 1889, journalist Charles Henry Dow and his colleagues published the first issue of the Wall Street Journal, establishing what would become one of the world's leading financial newspapers. In 1889, boxer John L. Sullivan successfully defended his title in the last officially sanctioned bare-knuckle World Heavyweight Championship, with his opponent Jake Kilrain's trainer conceding after 75 rounds near Hattiesburg, Mississippi. In 1896, American politician William Jennings Bryan delivered his famous Cross of Gold speech at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, supporting bimetallism and electrifying his audience. In 1905, the mutinous crew of the Russian battleship Potemkin surrendered to Romanian authorities after a famous rebellion against harsh conditions in the Russian Navy. In 1941, 20 B-17 bombers flew their first mission with the Royal Air Force over Wilhelmshaven, Germany, marking a significant collaboration between American and British Air Forces during World War II. In 1947, a local newspaper in Roswell, New Mexico, erroneously reported that a flying saucer had been found nearby. Although authorities quickly refuted the claim, the Roswell incident became central to speculation about unidentified flying objects and extraterrestrial life. In 1948, the Russian Orthodox Church celebrated its 500th anniversary with ceremonies in Moscow, highlighting the endurance and influence of the Church in Russian history. In 1949, South Africa's Prohibition of Mixed Marriages Act came into effect, making it illegal for white people to marry or have sexual relationships with people of other races. This law was a cornerstone of the apartheid system. In 1950, General Douglas MacArthur was appointed commander of United Nations forces during the Korean War, taking command of multinational efforts against North Korean forces. In 1960, the Soviet Union formally charged American pilot Francis Gary Powers with espionage after his U-2 spy plane was shot down during a mission over Soviet territory. In 1994, Kim Jong-il became the supreme leader of North Korea following the death of his father, Kim Il-sung. Kim Jong-il's leadership was marked by strict authoritarian rule, human rights violations, and severe famine in North Korea. In 1996, the British pop group Spice Girls released their debut single, Wannabe, in the United Kingdom, launching a global phenomenon and redefining girl group culture. In 2011, the Space Shuttle Atlantis launched from Florida, marking the final mission of NASA's 30-year Space Shuttle program. This historic flight concluded an era of human spaceflight for the United States.
Subscribe so you don't miss tomorrow's events.